you going? Welcome to another round of REDSKI's Righteous Readings. I am REDSKI, thank you for joining me. Sorry, I've kind of decided to jump on into this quick video because I came across something that I hadn't found in a while, and the reason why I did the addiction and recovery spread a few years back when I first discovered this journal, and I wanted to share a few bits of it with you. It's called the Habits Journal. Now, this works for any and all habits. It's by KK, Kiki, K-I-K-K-I, Kiki. Habits Journal. They do all different sorts of journals for all sorts of different things. But I wanted to assess some of the things I was doing in life, some things that were developing into habits that I hadn't realised quite some years back. And I bought this year's, and I've not actually used it because I've got too many problems and I'm just too busy to have habits, to be honest. But there's some really great information in here, and I wanted to share it now so I could either do a video with it, or I redo another video with the addiction and recovery spread, because of course that was one of the first readings I did on my channel, REDSKI's Righteous Readings. That was a REDSKI Righteous Original spread. I developed that spread myself. I tried and tested the everything out of it. I put it through the mill and back, and it has gone through many sheddings and very many alterations. But I'm so proud of that spread, and that has made me develop more spreads, and I'm getting I really enjoy it. It's just another dimension of tarot and oracle that can really take it to the next dimension. It's wow. So I want to share a few bits with you, if I may. So research has shown that on average it takes 66 days to learn a new habit. So 66 days it takes to form a new habit. This is because it takes time for your brain to form new processes, to make a conscientious effort to teach to each new habit for at least 2 months. In the months, you'll set your key focus for 66 days, as well as any other habits you'd like to change or start. Take time learning how each habit works. Then use the monthly plan to plan ahead and reflect. Don't forget, when this happens, to write down triggers and reward of each habit you would like to change or start. And after 66 days, choose another focus, take notes, and document your thoughts and the journeys along this way. The key to changing habits is not to try to stop a habit, but to replace it with something better. Be inspired by the tips and tools in this book and find a way that works for you and your individual habit. Above all, believe in yourself. Change is possible, and by taking control of your habits, you're one step closer to creating the life that you want to live. It takes 66 days to create a habit. What are you waiting for? How many days will it take you to succeed at beating one or replacing one? So, and it's great. The difference between who you are and who you want to be is what you do. The difference between who you are and who you want to be is what you do. And it's true. Words talk is very cheap. Even actions at times, it's living that. How to change habits and form new ones. So it goes through like brain, craving, the triggers. I really do strongly suggest this book for anyone that is trying to get some tips and tricks on going through recovery of habit. Of course, I'm not going to read all the book because that would be extremely really naughty. But I'm going to share some excerpts because I just want to share, what I can. Habits are made up of 3 parts: a trigger, a routine, and a reward. For example, a habit of taking vitamins each day could be triggered by eating breakfast, which prompts the root of taking the vitamin, and the reward with a greater sense of well-being. So a habit really is that simple when you break it down. It is trigger, it is routine, and it is reward. So that trigger happens, you go through the routine to get the reward. Trigger, routine, reward. That is the process. Every time something triggers you, you go through the routine to get that reward to take it away. And as I said, 66 days to form a habit. Habit changes occur by keeping the same trigger and reward, but changing the routine. For example, if you want to cut down on sugar, you keep the same trigger, which in this case could be feeling tired, and the same reward, feeling energized, and you swap the action for something new instead of eating something sweet. You might make a cup of herbal tea or go for a quick walk outside. So we keep the trigger and we keep the reward, but we change the routine by which we find pleasure in the reward. Trigger, routine, reward. Same as people, places, and things. These are the triggers. You need to know the triggers, know what, and recognize all this, and be honest with yourself. There's no point, willy-nilly and half-assing and I can't do, but yeah, but if and but maybe, no. It is. Each habit can have multiple triggers and rewards as well. Take time discovering what these are and jot down the new routines you're going to take for each trigger. And most of all, believe in yourself, because change is never easy. Happiness is a habit cultivated. I like that. Happiness is a habit cultivated, and I think that's what it is. Finding the habits in happiness and the simple things. Instead of sourcing out bad things that make you feel worse in the end, or things that you regret or gluttonize over, or things that you're ashamed of and or. Good habits, once established, are just as hard to break as bad ones, and that is very true. Just some quotes that I'm seeing in between the chapters as you go through. And it goes through extensive portions about how to understand the trigger, how to understand the routine, how to understand the reward, and then how for you to break it down and write it all down, and then to do a 12-month habits assessment, and each month is then motivational speech, that 66 days, what your goals are, what your triggers are, what your thoughts are, what you think you'll struggle with, spots to write down information in atonement to that and of those natures. Very great book, this, and I cannot give cheers and snaps enough to the creator of it. Honestly, the information in here is actually quite good as well. Like, it's quite in depth, to the point, without being like misinformational. So, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but an habit. By Aristotle. When was the last time you read Aristotle in your journal? It has weekly reflections as well, which I really like. So, spots where you can reflect on the week that has been. Really, how you felt, what you did well, what you could improve on, what you think the next week will bring. It's just so good, this planner. And as I said, habits is just one of them. They do plans for all sorts of different things. But this, I really think, if you are watching my addiction and recovery spread, and please check this out, okay? The Habits Journal by Kiki, Kikki, Habits Journal by Kiki, and big ups for Kiki, who makes this Habits Journal. Honestly, I'm bloody impressed, and not much impresses me nowadays, because so much is misinformation, so much is miswritten, or so much is poorly drafted nowadays when it comes to literature. It's hard to keep one Oh, and one other thing I do want to add, in the back, there's these trigger cards. So, you know, if on top of your monthly journal, you find something that triggers you, my habit triggers, you write down what you were doing at the time, what you were thinking, what you were feeling, what you believe the trigger was, why you believe it happened, so you can break down that initial moment of the trigger, to really break down what it is you're thinking, feeling, you know, how you felt, you know, and what you did in regards to that reward. You're going to change it up. Thank you for joining me on just a blase of information on REDSKI's Righteous Readings, where we read tarot some days and we read habit books on the others. So yeah, definitely check it out. It's actually something a little bit different, a little bit unique. As I said, I got this a little while back and it was hard to find then. I do believe it was like an eBay. I ended up finding it. Yeah, it was a little difficult, but at the beginning of the year, of course, they'd probably be easier to find because they are like a yearly gem. But having said that, yeah, you're not restricted there. You can start it at any point of the year. It's all monthly outwritten. Your 12 months could be March, you know, till, you know, February. It doesn't have to be January to December. In fact, sometimes it works out better for you when you're not doing it around that New Year's period, when you're in a more grounded energy. I find between February and March is actually the best time to bring in your fruition for the year, because you've started a little bit of the year, you come through and you know where you're really at, and you're well over last year's energy. You ain't carrying them resentments with you anymore. So definitely check it out. Okay guys, thanks for joining me. REDSKI's on REDSKI's Righteous Readings, but we're not reading today, but I can't wait to see you on the next round. Cheers all.